Rosemary, you're a lady who is changing history. Your 2018 book, China RX, alerted us all to the risks of having our medicines being made in China. And we featured you here in the Economic War Room in episode 6. That's nearly 2 years ago. And we gave a full action steps in our battle plan, which you helped us write. Thank you for that. Briefly, could you describe what your original findings were in China RX?
Kevin, thank you for having me. Yes, 2 years ago in China RX, I described how dependent we are as a country, as a world, we are on China for thousands of our medicines. And I predicted that in the event of a natural disaster or global pandemic, if China shuts the door, we'll be standing in line with other countries looking for medicines. And here we are today in the middle of a global pandemic, and we're seeing drug shortages, lack of availability, and China threatening the United States to withhold medicine. It's quite remarkable that this has come true.
Yeah, no, it absolutely has. Here's a headline from the UK Independent. It says, U.S. and China in war of words as Beijing threatens to halt supply of medicine amid coronavirus crisis. I mean, it's almost as if it was ripped straight from your book and put into the headlines of the UK press. We didn't publicize it a whole lot in the United States. I guess the pharmaceutical companies might be a little embarrassed that everything was being made in China, so we didn't make it known. But in my opinion, we were worried about overrunning the hospital system with the coronavirus. The bigger threat is if they withheld the medicines and the hospitals had to shut down. Can you tell us about that?
You're right. In the middle of a pandemic, think of this, China threatened to withhold medicines from the American people. And that's a threat to kill us. Yeah. There's just no two ways about it. And as mentioned, we are having reports now, very credible reports, that China is telling its companies not to send medicines to the United States. Wow. So here we are. So we have to fix it, and we have to fix it fast. And the statement from the Chinese government in the Chinese media was, we will throw the people of America into an ocean of coronavirus. Yeah. If that's not a declaration of economic war and biowarfare, I don't know what is. No, it's straight from the unrestricted warfare playbook, no doubt. Well, I remember you brought it up, and you knew it was a national security issue when we first talked a couple of years ago. And we took you to Frank Gaffney and then Fred Fleitz, and we took it to the National Security Council. And I know you were in there, you were talking and so forth, but it took the pandemic to really get the traction we needed. And I'm guessing Peter Navarro, just knowing Peter and knowing how he thinks, that he's probably been a huge ally inside the administration. Well, I've been very impressed, Kevin, with the bipartisan support that this topic has gotten. And we hear people on both sides of the aisle talking about this tremendous threat to our national health security and national security. And I had the pleasure of being introduced by a wonderful person in our country to Peter Navarro, who is not only the director of the Office of Trade Policy, but it's the Office of Trade and Manufacturing Policy. And he understood immediately the significance of this. And this was pre-pandemic. We just can't be a country that can't make basic medicines, including, antibiotics. And the good thing about this, Kevin, is that there are a lot of wonderful people in this country with tremendous talent, skill, and energy who saw the China RX out there and said, what can we do? And I was contacted by companies, and I was just talking to someone today, said, we want to be part of the solution. And so the task is to bring good people who can make product here in the United States, who know how to do it, with those who can provide the resources and impetus and leadership to make that happen.